that's fucking annoying.
YouTube is a safe cuck zone.
Well, I like it that they do it right as I hit the live button too, so we
Yeah.
can't see it. That's fucking fantastic. Hey
Well,
guys,
they want us to make people feel safe.
we're
'Cause they're-
complaining about YouTube right now.
They're in danger from being offended.
So the second we hit the live button, a pop-up popped up to say that make sure to moderate our comment section. Make sure you guys are all being good little boys.
Because it makes people
Yeah.
feel safe.
We want to make sure you guys feel safe, and this is a safe space. All right, so nobody.
But it's actually
we don't hurt
not.
anybody's
So
feelings.
let's talk about. I can't say the F word either. Let's talk about banging chicks.
Let's talk about banging chicks. All right.
Putting them
So,
in their place, making them beg and call you daddy.
yeah, so we're just starting the screen.
Toxic masculinity 101. How's that for safe space?
So firstly, we're going to be like answering questions at the very end of this video. So we're just starting this. We just turned it on. So if anybody scrolls back, sees this, make sure to ask some questions. Because once we're finished with the topic we're talking about, we're going to answer some questions. I haven't done a live in a while, so we're going to see how busy it gets. But if you ask a question, make sure to like the video as well. Make sure that more people get to come to this video so we can make it very fruitful for everyone come through. With that being said, yeah, so how to systematically become more attractive. And the guy leaves. So here, like first and foremost, when it comes to become more attractive, I know a lot of guys, it seems very muddy. Like the path to becoming more attractive seems very muddy, but really, honestly, it's very simple. It's not like it's very straightforward, obvious things that you need to do, things that maybe are not so obvious, things that him and me would tell you guys day in, day out, things that most people won't tell you about, but there's also things that you should be doing in your general life. Me and Avery were actually just talking about this. Drinking, for example. Like drinking is a very easy thing to do. If you find that you can't go out without alcohol, it's going to affect your overall emotional headspace. It's going to hurt your sense of self, your confidence. It's going to hurt your emotional
less
well-being.
attractive psychologically in terms of your energy and also physically. And I can attest to this because I had a phase. Most of my life, I didn't really drink much. Maybe just, once a month I'd get smashed and I'd be like, bang a girl who was like not that hot, and I'd be, all right, I'm not going to drink again for a while. That's what most of my life was. I mean, I'm kind of exaggerating, but I would drink like once a month or something. And then there was a phase where I had really bad anxiety. I was diagnosed with panic disorder, and I was using alcohol to kind of self-medicate the anxiety. So it became something I was doing like 4 times a week or something. I was drinking a lot. And during that phase, my skin looked far worse. My charisma went down. I wasn't as productive, so my self-esteem went down. I wasn't able to maintain good habits like meditation and things that make you carry yourself with more attractiveness, right? Because attraction isn't just about looks, but also, my face looked fatter and more bloated, and I gained weight, and my skin looked worse, and all those things. So not drinking, I mean, it's an obvious one, but it's something like 10% of the population has a problem with alcohol, so that's maybe more. So it's 10% of the population drinks 70 drinks per week.
Yeah.
That's a lot, right? So that's 10% are, that's like alcoholic level. And then the 10% below that is still too much. So it's a pretty significant percentage of people. Just not drinking will significantly increase your attractiveness.
And if you're somebody that's in this kind of industry or you like pickup, generally speaking, you're going to be a neurotic person. People who like pickup or into cold approach pickup or learn seduction with women, we are neurotic fucks. If you guys enjoy this, you are a neurotic fuck and you're more prone to having addictions.
If you had very high self-esteem growing up and you didn't have any anxiety or any depression or things like that, you would have been getting laid and you wouldn't look up how to pick up girls on YouTube because you probably, have girlfriends most of the time. So there's definitely a correlation there. And, drinking also just makes your game far worse. That's what I notice. You use it to get rid of the anxiety, but it actually makes it worse. It's kind of deceptive. So that's one that kind of needs to be put out there. What are the other major things that you'd want to talk about? And how do you systematically make yourself more attractive?
Okay, so, I mean, SMV. Okay, look, if you're not somebody who currently has amazing fucking fantastic game, or you're not charismatic, or you're not somebody that a girl could respect is very much correlated with attraction. If you're somebody who can't be respected, you need to learn to respect yourself and your body. What does that mean? That means working out, hitting the gym, taking care of yourself. I mean, you have nothing else going for you yet. And so in the meantime, why not take advantage of the things you can? I have clients who don't yet have down the pickup shit, but they worked hard as fuck on their bodies. They built a business. They created they made themselves valuable without having to learn game necessarily, which made it easier for me as a coach to coach them. They had a history of changing, a history of, yes, if I put energy into something, I will get better. And not to mention too, there are some girls, like usually to be fair, like sevens and sixes who are fucking like just, I mean, all right, let's be serious here too. If you went out today and to go game and you, instead of having maybe your pudgy stomach, you had like a six pack, you'd be more confident. There would be like girls that be more attracted to that initially. You'd have a better upfront with the girls. You'd have a different swag to you. Do things that make you confident, because confidence equals it's the way you present yourself to everybody. It's the way that you move and speak that turns girls on. And if you believe and you have like that fucking fire body, you have that fucking business, you have a purpose, it's so much fucking easier to move and speak in a way that makes girls turned on by you. And also it gives off a certain energy. Like, do you see how I just turned it on right there? It's because I believe in myself. You have to be taking actions to make yourself believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. If you're a neurotic fuck, the girls are gonna be feeling that. And neuroticism is very, man, you're light right now.
Yeah, I don't know why it's changing colors.
I don't know
Maybe
either.
some weird setting. I mean, it's a new light, so whatever. Adds dynamism or something.
Something like that.
So, in terms of being attractive, I would say there's generally the two major things. One is physical attractiveness, and then the other one is how you carry yourself, right? And so a lot of these guys who are, it's all about looks, and they complain that I'm not good looking enough, and therefore I can't get any women. Think about how are you going to act around women if you assume they're going to reject you, you assume you're not good enough, you assume that it's all about looks and they're super shallow. You put all of these mentalities, these frameworks on your interactions. How do you think you're going to be charismatic? How do you think you're going to be positive and fun to be around when you're like, she's just going to reject me? That's the voice in your head, is this little like gremlin, right? It's like a little golem. She's just going to reject you anyway. Just get back to your precious, meaning jacking off, that's kind of the energy. And so, yes, looks are absolutely a part of attractiveness. And, we'll go into that. But a lot of guys, they have never put any effort into their vibe, their energy, confidence at all. And they think, now this is kind of bizarre because we're watching ourselves 10 seconds ago in the laptop.
I'll move this over.
Yeah, that's going to freak me out. It's like some Inception kind of shit. And you just haven't even deigned to think that maybe the way I carry myself isn't attractive. Like maybe when I'm just like boring, negative, can't make eye contact, can't approach a girl, I never ask them out, I never am able to like have a sexual energy like he was showing, and I don't do any of these things, and yet, it's just because of my looks. So really have to be aware of that dichotomy or that self-created prison that, it's all because of my looks, so I'm not going to work on anything else. Well, why don't you experiment and try putting in a little more swag in the way you interact? Try actually approaching a girl. I don't know, it's crazy. Like a lot of guys are like, well, I'm not attractive, and that's why I don't approach. Well, actually, to a large degree, you're not attractive because you don't approach. Really think about that. That was a pretty good, catchy little one-liner. Because you're not attractive because you don't approach. What I mean is, because you never approach, you have no confidence with women. It's like if you've never driven and you try driving a car, you're going to freak out, right, the first time. You've never done it, so of course you're not confident. Why would you be confident? It would be foolish to be confident out of, it wouldn't make any sense, right? It would just be contradictory. So you've never done it, and you think it's because you're not good looking enough, but it's actually you're not attractive because you have no confidence because you don't approach, right? So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And once you start approaching women, you'll realize some of them, maybe it's 10%, whatever, some of them like you. Some of them start going, oh my God, thank you, you made my day. Or like, I have a boyfriend, but I'll suck your dick in the bathroom real quick. That's, whatever. You're gonna have these interesting experiences. You're gonna get positive reactions. You're gonna have some girls clearly be into you. If you're approaching enough, which 95% of you aren't.
Yeah.
Right? You're dipping your feet in the water, and it's like someone, if they wanted to learn an instrument, they wanted to learn guitar, and they play like 5 minutes a week, and they think they're going to be able to play, what's that Dragon Force song from Guitar Hero? Through the Fire and the Flames. Like, why can't I pull a threesome with tens? Why can't I pull tens even though I'm doing 5 minutes a week? Because if you're doing like 1 or 2 approaches a week, which is more than probably average.
It's better than
if you're doing 1 to 2, it's better than nothing, but that is like playing guitar for like 10 minutes a week. You're not going to get good at it. It's better than nothing, but you have to build on that and increase that. So you've decided you're not attractive and therefore you're not going to approach, but it's actually the other way around. And you can't expect to be getting any kind of results with something that's really dipping your feet in the water. Like something that you can do in 10 minutes, like 1 or 2 approaches, that's nothing, right? It's just not enough. And as you approach more, you start getting some good reactions. Some girls reject you, but they're usually polite. So that disproves the whole like, oh, they're going to be creeped out and they're going to like, freak out and call the cops and all these things. You disproves these negative beliefs. Their boyfriend's going to beat up. I've only been beaten up by 3 boyfriends. It's not that bad. I'm kidding. I haven't been beaten up by any boyfriends after doing this for years. So when you put that all together, the more you approach, you get more confident because you start to see some women like you, which disproves your limiting belief. And that makes you more attractive because now you know that some women like you. You know that you have a chance. It's not over for you. It's not hopeless. You don't need to get leg lengthening surgery to have a chance, or move to the Philippines and be a, what do you call it, get a foreign bride or whatever that you pay for. What's that show, The Love, where they get like poor women, 90 Day Fiance.
Oh,
You don't
yeah,
have to
it's
do 90 Day
terrible.
Fiance. So that's a huge part of it. And if you're not taking actions that could get you women, you're not going to increase your perception of attractiveness as much as you should. Now, with that said, is it going to help to do things like meditation, to read good books? I don't know why the light keeps changing. Sorry, guys. To read good books, to work out, to follow a diet. Like, all that stuff is great and you should do it. And increasing your self esteem will help.
Yeah.
But don't avoid the one thing that actually leads to sex, right? That like the clear yes or no is approaching and asking girls out, using dating apps and setting up dates and that kind of thing. If you're not doing that, don't expect anything to happen.
Here, actually, I want to throw something in there too. So, yeah, and actually, thank you for commenting, Carl. For anybody who wants to ask any questions, make sure to throw out some questions.
Yeah, I'd be
We're gonna
open to
answer them
that.
at the end.
I mean,
If you have
most
time.
of them would get embarrassed, but I'd be open to that, Carl. And he said, "Would you go against the best pickup coaches in the field?" Yeah, I would.
I mean, pickup's not like a fucking like ring like kind of
I
thing.
feel like
It's not,
most of them, the ones that are
it's
good,
not like competitive.
the ones that are good, no one would end up looking bad because they both crush it, but maybe one would crush it. I would crush it a little more. But the ones who are bad, who are like actually influencing people negatively, let's take like, I don't know, How to Beast, or who are some that are really bad. Um, Coaches that have no game whatsoever, like the ones that never have posted infield, for example. Dave Parada, Corey Wayne. I'm naming names. I'm shots fired. But if Casey Zander, yeah, I would love to do an infield thing with them. Because it would show, like, it'd separate the wheat from the chaff, right? Like, it would show that, oh, these guys, they have no game whatsoever and they're fucking amateurs and I shouldn't listen to them. And I would take their audience and actually be able to help them. So I would happily do that.
You're all right. So there's a difference between me and Avery. Avery's very competitive. I'm very collaborative naturally. Like, it's just more of like our temperaments. Avery's very competitive. I'm like, I imagine if I went out with a guy who was good at game, I'd probably end up working with him, having fun with him. That's my problem. Like, he'd be on a date and I'd be trying to hype him up and trying to like get him laid too.
Yeah, well, if it was someone like Austin Summers who's good, I don't think anyone would come
Well,
out
like,
of it looking bad.
a guy who's good at game is cool. Like,
Yeah.
if you guys ever have to ask yourself, does this guy have good game? Is he cool? Is he like somebody who seems popular? Then he probably has good game. So it's like the problem is that to be competitive with a guy like that, I'd probably want to be his friend. I'd have a hard time being competitive with a guy like that because I'd like him. But here's the thing. Yeah, and by the way, keep asking questions. We'll like get around to like everything. If Avery has enough time, he's gonna go shoot out some infield here pretty soon. So we'll see how long he has.
Phones, check the messages. 1 second.
Okay, I do have one point I want to get into with this. Okay, so we actually did a live yesterday on his channel. And we had a lot of guys who were complaining about different things. It was height, race, this, that. And I've never, all right.
An Indian man has never gotten laid.
Indian men.
That's why there's a billion of them. That's a funny, like.
That's so terrible. Okay, so look.
Short guys have never gotten laid. That's why the average height in many countries is like 5'4". It's never happened.
But let me ask you a question, because I know the answer for myself, and I do know what you're gonna say too. But I want to ask it for posterity.
Sure. Do you say posterity?
I think did I say it wrong?
Like prostate, but go on.
Okay, so everybody that all right, so we've done a lot of boot camps. I mean, in the hundreds, and I've had a lot of people where I'm on the phone call with them and we're setting up the boot camp, whatnot. They're telling me like, look, to be serious here, I don't think I can do this because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And maybe they give me a really good fucking excuse, and I will play into it. I'll be like, he's giving a good argument. That's crazy. And then I meet him in person, and he's doing fucking everything wrong.
And he's like, hello,
Yeah,
ladies.
he's like, hi,
Nice to meet you.
hey, how's it going?
Bitch.
Ha 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 ha. He's not like, hey. He's not like, hey, you're totally my fucking type. He's like, you guys are doing shit that it's not these little like these excuses that are actually stopping you. Because as a coach, I've never actually seen these excuses stop somebody. I've not seen it yet. We had a guy who was in a wheelchair as a coach for RSD, and he was pulling every night. He was like, we called him the Viking. We called him like, he had like a wheelchair, and then he got on crutches, and then he rolled like, so eventually moved up to crutches, and his legs were still crushed. And so he would like roll up to like girls on crutches and shit, and he just was still pulling. It was crazy. I don't know. We've seen guys of every fucking demeanor, every height, every race crush it at this point, and you don't have an excuse. If you have an excuse, you're just looking for reasons not to invest in yourself because you're afraid that if I invest in this and I don't succeed, it's going to hurt your ego, or it's this, or it's that. You're trying to find ways to be consistent and still get good at this. You can't be the same person and expect to get good at this. You have to change, and I know for those of you who've been the same person for a long time, you guys will have a lot of resistance. You guys will find excuses naturally. They'll simmer up to the top. But you have to understand those excuses are bullshit. Like, it doesn't help to fucking focus on excuses. If you guys want to pragmatically and strategically get good at this is how you do this. If you're not going to get coaching, which is okay if you don't. It's expensive. I get it. But you at least should be writing field reports. You need to be thinking critically, and you need to become your own coach, because it's not that thing that you think is holding you back that's holding you back. It's energetically. Oftentimes it's energetically. There's a lot of different things it could be. I've seen guys where they auto-eject themselves, where a girl starts liking them, like, and they leave.
I had a client, this is, I don't know, 6 months ago or so. I had a client approach a really cute girl who he was super into. Within 3 minutes, she started mentioning the idea of like getting a drink with him in her room. And he said, oh, actually, I don't have time, because he's like, I have to go back to get more coaching, so I'm not going to pool. And he said, actually, I don't have time, so I'll get your number. And of course, he got her number and didn't see her again. She invited him to her room, and he didn't get laid. So the idea is like, it's all about looks and attractiveness, and if you don't have it, like, it's so easy to fumble it. I used to be that bad. Maybe you're not that bad, but you probably don't even know when you're getting in your own way, when a girl's clearly feeling you. They're not going to say, rarely, I've had it happen a few times, like, want to have sex? They're not going to say that, right? It's not going to happen. So a lot of times women were into you and they did find you attractive, but because you didn't find yourself attractive, you lost it, right? Because you thought they were just going to reject you, and you had a limiting belief, right? Like that client who just, he shot himself in the foot, or shot himself in the dick, really, more accurately. And so that's something you really need to think about is if you haven't been approaching, asking girls out, and it could be online, it could be whatever, but actually asking them on dates, escalating, and inviting girls to a place where you could have sex, like inviting them back to your place or their place or whatever. If you're not doing those things, don't blame anything else. And so if you mean the whole show, I'd be curious about that. Well, but that's something that you really got to be cognizant of, is that if you're not doing those things, how are you going to blame that, oh, I'm just not physically attractive enough? And make yourself better looking. Look, I've lost 16 pounds in the last about 2 months. And how did I do that? I've just been doing the 1 meal a day diet. I go to a buffet, eat, choose the healthy stuff, not like shitty stuff. Just eat that, get 10,000 steps a day, and I have been not drinking, right? So those 3 things, that's improving my looks. It's improving my SMV. But I have an infield video pulling. Yeah, I could show like my face like not that long ago. I'll show the difference. But I have an infield where I weighed 215 pounds, so 15 pounds more than I do now. And in that video, I pull a fitness model, right? When I'm at my worst in terms of physical looks. And I've also been 160 pounds and very, in great shape, right? I was 12% body fat at one point, and athletic and all that, and I got way worse results. So that's how I know it's not, yes, looks are a factor. Yes, you should take care of yourself, of course, but it's not just the physical improvement, it's the self-esteem improvement, right? That's actually just as important, is that you feel good about yourself, and that aura just radiates. Like, if you like yourself, other people will like you. If you feel like I'm a piece of shit who doom scrolls all day, who never gets out of the house, who has no hobbies, no interests, no good habits, I don't read, I don't meditate, I don't work out, I'm not leveling up in my career, then yeah, you're gonna carry yourself in a way that women don't find particularly attractive. So let's see. Here is, I think I got a screenshot. Maybe I didn't. Let's see. Yeah, there's a screenshot of me, weighing like 16 pounds more. All right, so you can, I think the difference is noticeable. I've still got a ways to go, but that's what's worked for me. And I would say my skin doesn't look bad. I don't want to sound arrogant. Basically, what I do for that, I use moisturizer on a daily basis and eat clean and drink a lot of water. Right? It's not complicated. These things aren't like rocket science. It's just you have to have the discipline to follow through. We all know what to do to improve our looks.
Oh, okay. Here, I'm actually gonna jump back to a topic we just mentioned a second ago, which was right in the field reports. All right, look, sometimes it will take me like 2 to 6 months to figure out what the fuck I'm doing. They're called sticking points and bottlenecks. A bottleneck could be that you're only approaching like 2 people a night. It's a lot easier to pull a girl if you're approaching 15 to 20. Yeah. Like, it doesn't have to be all girls. I say that a lot,
but it's like, I've done polls on my group, and you could do a poll on your YouTube channel. Most guys, it's like 70% do either 0 or like 1 to 10 in the last month. When I asked, like, in the last month, how many women did you approach? 70% is either 0 or 1 to 10.
Yeah, and then they come to you and they like.
And then there's like 4 that did over 100, and they're all like, I lost my virginity. I got laid 3 times. I got, the correlation is extremely strong, and if you want to focus on the easy things that don't require a lot of effort, and all the little tricks and hacks, and the new watch, right? The Alpha M, like this new watch or cologne is going to get you laid. They'll start approaching you.
Well, actually,
that's much more appetizing to your subconscious, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're not doing the work, like it's not going to happen. You're being a bitch.
Yeah, and well, what you need to do is you need to think more critically. All right, you guys want to be spoon-fed everything, and I did too when I first started this, and I was not good at figuring out what the fuck I was doing wrong. I wasn't. It took a lot of practice, a lot of time writing and thinking critically and thinking it through. It took a lot of time. Oh, and by the way, too, if you guys are commenting and you guys like the video, make sure to like it. I noticed that we have a lot of comments, and we only have 1 like so far.
Yeah, if you want us to keep going.
Yeah, if you guys like our faces, you guys like us talking to you. Free advice, it's whatever. Anyways, that being said, it's practice, honestly. Thinking critically is practice. And if you guys are like only finding like excuses for why you can't do this, yeah, the light.
If we get to 10 likes, I'll go film infield today, and I'll do one of the ideas. You come up with ideas for what you want me to do infield of, and I'll film that idea. If we get to 10 likes.
Dude, I would have times where I'd plateau for like a year or 2, where I want to get better at all, and I'd be like, oh my God, I knew it. It's all looks. And I had like that happen probably like 3 times over in the past, since I was 19, 18. I'm 33 now.
When you have the excuse, you're a midget. So you do have that looks excuse.
Wait.
He's actually
my seat doesn't go any lower. Now. I was trying to get my seat to go lower. Try to sell it.
So if he can do it, anyone can.
Yeah. So like you might be feeling like you're spinning your wheels, but it is still something that's in your control. It just takes critical thought. And you have to be honest with yourself. It's very hard to look at yourself critically. It's very easy to look at anybody else other than you and see what they're doing wrong. It's tenfold harder to look inwardly and look at yourself authentically as like an entity and see yourself for what you actually are and what you're doing wrong. For me, when I go into boot camp and I'm running it and some guy has excuses, to me, it's immediately obvious what the guy's doing wrong. And usually it surprises the guy.
I said I've been helping Todd with his game. I'm not saying that couldn't happen, but I don't think he'd want anyone to be helping him with his game.
Well, Carl,
it seems unlikely to be true.
So Carl comments a lot in my videos, and I know his personality pretty well. I know what.
Is he one of the Spurg?
He's Carl. Look, like honestly, dude, this is like legitimate coaching advice because honestly, dude, I like it that you're such an avid viewer. And I like that you are so much about this shit. That's dope. But your number one like ankle like breaking thing that you do is negativity. You are you have a tendency like you're smart. but you kind of like you almost seethe with like negativity. If you actually, all right, so this is what I do, because I have the same problem. I'm neurotic, and so is Avery. We have to focus on being positive and upbeat. It's like a constant battle. Get a rubber band, and every time you think a negative thought, retrain your brain. You'll actually notice a huge difference in the way that people treat you if you do this for a month. Every time you think a negative thought, put a rubber band on your wrist, snap it, reframe it 3 times. And so, for example, let's say like, oh, there's no fucking way that a girl's gonna like me because of this, that, and I'm like fat or whatever. Who cares? Well, let's say it's the fat thing. It's like, nah, dude, I'm husky, and girls don't give a fuck about that shit. Dude, it's my aura. I got fucking fire aura. And like now, see, I'm reframing it to the positive. Their mindsets and beliefs show on your face. You can't help it. We as humans, we have 56 major and minor expressions, and they're natural. It's like do bursts of light. You'll see it in like certain interviews and whatnot. Um,
Okay, at first I was 70% chance this Carl guy was trolling with weird stuff.
The Carlson
but now I know it's
Carlson
100%.
Yeah.
So what were we talking about?
I don't know. We can go to another question though. Honestly, I'm kind of getting bored with this because
Was there anything else about how to systematically become more attractive? I mean, the systematic part that most people ignore that you need to focus on is building what the kids are calling aura, right? Building aura, and you do that by facing rejection head on, by showing that courage of going up to women, approaching them, facing the risk of rejection. Then your ego will get shattered, but you'll come back stronger and not be this, fragile, reactive guy. You'll start to be grounded. You'll even notice that as you approach more women, your voice gets deeper, it projects more, your eye contact stronger. People start reacting to you because you have aura, right? You have riz. And the way to get that, and that will make women find you attractive, right? It really will. They've done studies that just hearing a man's voice, women will get sexually aroused if the voice has certain qualities, right? They don't even need to see a man, right? They're different than us. It's important to be aware of that, right? And I mentioned this in the last video I did, but it's important. 50 Shades of Grey, Twilight, these are books women sexually experience gratification to. They're books. There's no pictures. They're just imagining, right? Literally just reading words can turn them on. So, and women can have orgasms purely based on emotions and thoughts without even touching themselves.
Yeah.
Right? That's possible, not for us. And so if you carry yourself like a little worm that hates yourself, hates women, that plays World of Warcraft 8 hours a day, I'm saying that because I used to at one point, and you go up to a girl, yeah, you're not going to be attractive.
Let me just put it in one line. I'll give it back to you. So value is attraction, right? Well, how is a girl supposed to see you as valuable if you don't see yourself as valuable?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How are they going to see value when you don't see it? That's a great point.
Yeah, no, girls follow us. We're the leaders, and you're subconsciously telling her, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of this. And so, like, I've actually seen clients where the girl did like him initially, but then you had that negative energy, and the girl's like, never mind. Like, you see in her eyes where it flips for her. And, like, she went from, like, Bambi eyes to being like, ugh, ew, ick. Oh, yeah, we keep going back around to people keep mentioning Austin. Austin's dope. I have no problem with Austin. I think he actually, to be fair, I think Austin has fire fucking game. I mean, he seems cool. I actually, it was funny. We one day here in Vegas, we're passing by each other, and he was pulling this Asian girl. I was pulling a girl in the opposite direction. And I looked at him, and he was kind of just like in the visage of the girl, and he was like just like eye contact laser. I think he's actually, I
wouldn't
I think he's dope.
look. I would go against anyone in terms of like not afraid to do it, but I don't think Austin's a bad guy, and I don't think he's like someone who's a negative part of the community. So I'd much rather go against someone who's like hurting people, right? Someone who has no game and gives bad advice. I think that would be much more interesting than going against someone who's actually
that you like.
solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that just doesn't make as much sense to me.
Well, that'd be vicious too, because if a guy's like that, then he's probably not somebody who's good at this shit. It'd be a little vicious, honestly, in practice.
So as far as systems, I'd say the way you systematize this is first create a system for how you're going to improve your physical attractiveness, and the key is to follow through even if you have a couple bad days and want to quit. Right? It's consistency. So for me, I found OMAD diet is great because it's very hard to eat too many calories in one meal, right? I mean, even if you have shitty food, it's hard to go over like 2,500. And even that is a stretch. And you don't have to think about it, right? It's just I do this one thing and I'm following the diet. So you can choose a different diet, count your calories, slowly reduce them is the other best. The other thing I've had the most success with is I had a personal trainer online, and if you can afford it, hiring one is not a bad idea. But he just had me track my calories for 1 week to find my baseline, and then we reduced it by like 300, 200, and so on, just gradually. And that worked quite well as well. So follow some kind of diet. There's no reason not to be trying. If you're overweight, you should at least be trying at all times. Even if you're struggling, you should always be trying. Even if you're like, I'm fat fuck, I'm just gonna, wait, you're gonna give up and accept that you're just fat? No, you should always be putting effort in and trying to improve it. So that, obviously, going to the gym, should be doing that. And then what else is there in terms of, and then you should be moisturizing and, get a haircut, shave, and you'll be ahead of most people if you just do those things, right? You'll already be pretty solid. And then in terms of the Riz side of it, in terms of the attractiveness of how you carry yourself, it's about interacting with more women in a way where you're like making moves and like trying to lead things forward and being sexual, etc. Right? So to systematize it, what I do is I have a minimum. I have to go out an hour each day at least. And that's just what I follow. Usually I do more. Usually I go beyond that because it's my job. If it wasn't my job, I would lower this, but I just follow through. An hour a day, put it on my calendar, and I'm going to do that. And I don't think about it. So if you're someone who, has a busier schedule, it might be like 30 minutes on the weekdays and then 2 hours on Friday, Saturday at night or something like that. Or even 15 minutes a couple days and then, at least minimum, you should be going out 4 times a week to meet women. Even if you have approach anxiety, you're struggling and it's hard, you should at least be trying to go out and approach women 4 times a week. And if you're not doing that, you're not doing game. And if you're not doing that, you're not really paying attention to what we're saying, right? You're looking for the dopamine hit, but you're not really committed to make a change and to get success, right? You're looking for the, I'm learning a new magic trick to get women. That's great, but you have to be implementing, right? So that I would say is the minimum. And then online dating apps, get a photo shoot, a professional photo shoot. If you took a boot camp with one of us, you could actually get that included with the boot camp and get, a solid 10 to 50 times as many matches. Yeah.
We're really good
10
at
to 50 times as matches from doing so, as well as getting you over your approach anxiety, helping you learn how to sexualize, how to lead, how to do all the things that make interactions go somewhere. I've had many virgins, well, not many, like 8 virgins lose their virginity on or right after a boot camp. I've had people who are on a multi-year dry spell end up dating a model or sleep with 100 women in 2 years. These have all happened. I have testimonials. That's real. I have testimonials on my on a page that I have linked. You can find it on my website. So that'll do all those things. But you still, at the very least, if you're not going to get coaching, get a photo shoot at minimum. You can get a decent photo shoot, not as good as us, but a decent one for like $200 or $300. It's something better than nothing. Yeah, that makes sense. But do that. And then use the dating apps at least 15 minutes a day. And I just put it in your calendar and just follow through. All right, that's what I do. Just 15 minutes a day. Actually use the app, swipe on girls, message, and you'll start systematically getting more options with women, more opportunities, and then you'll get also more attractiveness because you start getting that self-fulfilling prophecy, the winner effect, instead of the loser-derper effect starts to take over.
Firstly, wait, did your wing hit you up yet?
Yeah, he's ready to meet, so we're good. I'm about to get some infield.
All right, then I'll go through a few points really quick, and also I saw a couple questions that I want to respond to.
30 minutes away.
Oh, sweet, we're good then. Okay, so a few things. Firstly, actually, I want to talk about the photo thing first before I forget about that. We were actually talking about this yesterday. We're actually better than like the professional photographers. I send my clients to them all the time, but they're fucking dorks. They're great at like the lighting and the framing, but then like they don't know what facial expressions are or what a girl wants to see in a photo. Our photos are like 10.
There's some who know how to do that, but usually they're over $2,000.
Yeah.
The ones I've seen that are legitimately like at our level or maybe better. I have a screenshot of this somewhere. I'm not going to find it, but maybe I'll post it after the video. There was someone who did a $1,500 or $1,800, something like that, photo shoot. And then they did one with me, which was, overall it's less by a lot. And the best picture they got them the most matches, was one of the ones I took. Mm-hmm. And that picture actually got him a 20% match rate on Hinge. Yeah. So that means out of every 5 girls he swipes, he gets 1 match, which means he swipes 50 girls, which would take, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes? I don't know. He's got 10 matches. On Hinge, if you don't know, the matches are like 10 times as valuable as Tinder. They're a lot more committed because you can only swipe on 7 people a day or whatever. So that's an insanely good match rate. He doesn't go out anymore, sadly. very often because he's getting laid from the online dating app so much.
That happens
It's
a lot.
been like, yeah, 2 or 3 times a week in some cases. So that's what a photo shoot can do. You don't have to get it with us in the boot camp. I think that's obviously you could consider us biased, but I have plenty of proof of the kind of results that our clients get. However, you do at least need to get good pictures and start using the dating apps. Why not? Right? If you're crushing it in person, then I suppose you have a valid excuse. But if you're not, what is the audio off or something?
No, the camera dropped a little bit, so I didn't know if
okay.
it was about to fall or not.
I see. But if you're not crushing it in person, why wouldn't you draw from all sources and also use dating apps? Unless you're obese, because then it's not really going to work. But the dating apps.
Yeah, here, I'm going to throw down a few more
Want to
things.
answer questions? Or?
Yeah, there's a couple I actually want to answer. So Red Stoica, like I always love your questions, dude. So what he's asking is, how important is sitting next to the girl on the first date? I kept hearing advice from dating coaches. All right, look here. If a coach is giving you that advice and making that like a pinnacle of like whatever, it's all right. There's
My
four.
big secret.
Yeah, it's like this
I
is.
sit next to the girl.
It's just not like a very like it's not something you should really worry about because I can see a guy doing either or and still crushing it. It's like all right.
It's a majoring in minor things kind of thing, right? Like it's better, I would say, to sit next to her than across from her. But who
Well-
cares? I'm gonna bang her either way.
When I first started in this, I had a hard time differentiating between valuable advice and unvaluable advice. So I found a way. I categorized into 4 different pieces. 1 is useless. 2 is like he does it, but like it works for him, but then somebody else might do it differently. 3 is something that will improve your results like 5 to 10%, 2%, 3%. And there's those big fundamentals: eye contact, energy, positivity, being extroverted, knowing how to get yourself into a great headspace, believing in yourself, having a great Instagram. I mean, like things that are gonna like affect your dating in a really big way. Don't invest your time into things that are gonna be like a 1% change. It's just not worth your investment. And as for the other comment, yeah, I am actually still putting out my product. Honestly, what happened was that I was going through it. It's a very hefty script, and I realized that I didn't like it, and so I switched it up. I even changed the title. I will be still putting it out. I know it's supposed to be out like 3 months ago. It still will come out. That's actually why
You really
I
want
put
a
up this.
product? You can get my products.
He does have products too, but my
With
product.
5+ hours of infield.
I'm
Just
getting
saying.
I'm getting new lighting in the place. I'm buying some focal lights, some background lights, so that the product looks professional.
Pickup is about being a player, not necessarily. It depends on what you want, right? It's about having options. That could mean being a player. It could mean a rotation. It could mean a loving girlfriend and being gay and having kids.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
I think that might be all the questions. Well, let me see. What are some good infield exercises to develop great leading skills? I mean, it's just a matter of like when the time arises to lead, do you step up to the occasion or do you back down? Because it's going to come down to where you're like, oh, maybe I should lead. Oh, nobody knows what they're doing. And then do you like fall back into the shadows, or do you put yourself out there even though it might feel awkward?
I think that's a good question because that's one of the most common sticking points I see
Leadership?
with clients is a girl is hooked and she's into them, but they don't lead it forward in any way. They just keep talking to her in the same place without touch, without it being sexual, and it just fizzles out, right? And they just lose interest slowly, and it's like watching, I don't know, it's watching someone die. It's sad. So the exercise I'd say is anytime a girl hooks, right, she's receptive, she's smiling, she's laughing, whatever, anytime that happens, you bring her into ovulation with your energy. Anytime that happens, you just say, hey, let's go outside where it's quieter. Hey, let's go sit down. Hey, let's go get some water. Whatever. Just move her. Try to move her somewhere. Make a habit of doing that. And one of the good things about leading is once you've led, it feels less like a pickup and more like a date. Right? It feels more established. And even if you're like would have ran out of things to say or let it fizzle out, now you're both kind of more invested because you've like gone somewhere together. So even if it's a little awkward, it's still more likely to, end in you pulling. So that's what I would suggest. And you want to do that, no, not bring them into their period. I'm saying bring them into ovulation is when you want to have sex the most because you can get pregnant. It's been scientifically shown that women while ovulating are actually more likely to have one-night stands. They are also more likely to wear like tight red dresses and revealing clothing, etc. So that's why I said that. Anyway, if you're bringing them into their period, you're like making them not want to have sex. Although I did do that once. I sadly can't tell that story on YouTube. I did that. Here, it's kind of, I'll tell part of the story. I can't tell the whole story. But I brought this girl back to her hotel. She didn't mention that she had a friend in the room. And sometimes, I mean, there were a few months ago, I pulled this girl and she had a friend in the room and she's like, I hate that friend. Let's bang in front of her. I was like, all right, whatever. So, so that was kind of weird. It was a little, but I was like, all right, I don't care. I'm not getting cock blocked by this friend. So, I take her to the hotel. Her friend's there, and she's like, "You should have thought this through." I'm like, "Yeah, of course. The less attractive friend is gonna be like that." So what I did, you got to be creative. Got to be on your feet. So what I did is I grabbed the mattress, the top part, grabbed it, took it into the bedroom, or sorry, the bathroom, laid it on the bathroom, and then we hooked up in the bathroom. So I just took the mattress into the bathroom. But speaking of periods, something may have happened where that started during the exchange and it may have scarred me for life. But anyway,
Well, to be fair too, I think that I think we've exhausted all the questions. I think we did good.
wings a long time ago. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Carl too. Well, actually, I don't need to say anything about that.
Red wings.
There's nothing. Honestly, I think we're good. We can bounce on
Yeah, if
this.
anyone else has like a last question or
Yeah,
two.
actually, if somebody has one last question, we'll answer one more. Then we're gonna get out of here. I got a lot of work. Avery has to go and shoot infield. So if we have one more question, next question up, if it's good, we'll answer it.
How about until you ask us questions, we're gonna aggressively pitch sales things. We're gonna sell stuff to you.
Yeah, if
And
you
so
don't
if you
ask
ask
questions,
questions, we'll answer your
we're gonna
questions. Other
aggressively
than
close
that,
you guys.
We're
so
gonna
you guys-
pitch.
yeah.
So one thing I want to mention: if you want to work with me in person, military discount for students.
That's hilarious.
Wait, what does that mean?
Military discounts.
I have more affordable options for people who, are like a student, don't make as much money, but I don't do discounts. I don't know. I'm just not a
That's
discount.
that'd actually be a
I
funny line
could,
to
but I'm
get.
just against it for boot camps.
That'd be just a funny line to
For
say
the
in
most
game
part.
though. Like if you're just like girls like just saying that randomly, like just like saying it around random shit. Like do I get a military discount? That's just funny.
Okay, yeah,
That's
we can give that a shot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be. I haven't decided the exact dates, but I had to get a replacement of my passport. It just came in the mail, and so I'm going to be doing. I'm not sure which first, but Philippines, Southeast Asia. People, because passport, bro. No, I'm going to be going to Southeast Asia at one point and doing programs there. And then I'm also going to go through a bunch of countries in Europe and do programs there. And that's going to be in probably 4 months or so from now is when that's going to start. But I'm still doing boot camps in the US until then. And I'm mostly going to be doing Las Vegas. I'm going to be going to Miami. I have one already scheduled there that has one spot available. I'm going to be going to San Diego. I'm going to go to Austin and New York at the very least. So if you're interested in working with me in person in the US, I would recommend hitting me up. I have a link to my website down below, and you can find the page for boot camps to learn more about that. And you can see the many testimonials of people whose lives completely changed after taking a boot camp. Guys who couldn't even approach a girl at all without like shaking in anxiety, going from that to like getting laid even on the boot camp. I can't promise if you're a complete beginner that'll happen, but I can promise you'll make more progress in 3 days than most guys do in a year because you have an external force pushing you past your ego. So instead of like going out for 3 hours and doing one approach, you're in the first hour probably going to do like 10. You're going to start getting good reactions. You're going to start being more confident. You're going to get on an upward spiral where you start getting dates. Chances are you start getting makeouts and things start going in the right direction. And the same is true for him. I mean, if you want to take a boot camp with him, he can change your life in just a few days. So it's definitely something you should consider if you're stuck, right? And we're going to see if there's any questions. But if there's not, we're going to keep,
Oh, somebody's asking about a
boot camp. Do boot camp.
Somebody's asking.
I know Las Vegas is meta. All right. We got a nerd here. Do you have another city in... Oh, well, I just said San Diego, yeah. There isn't a lot of old PUA style in the boot camp. I would consider what I teach is not really old PUA style.
No.
For the most part. There are techniques that have their place here and there, but mostly it's about getting out of your own way. So there's a part of you that is charismatic that knows, like, you know how to have sex on like a biological level. You know how attraction works. You just get in your own way through these like layers of conditioning and negative beliefs, etc. So most of it is getting you to stop being in resistance, to stop preventing yourself from being that version of yourself, and to really go for it.
Here, throw it to me really quick.
For sure.
All right, so I think people also underestimate, like, because it's like hard for you guys to understand how much effort and work we put into this, because you guys are not here on the other side. You guys are not us, obviously, and you guys just see us in little clips like this on YouTube. We put unbelievable effort into learning how to be coaches. Like, I mean, I put unbelievable. I mean, like, there's been so many times where I'm like, I have put in so much unbelievable effort into this.
In some
There
ways, I
can't be
think
any
you
more.
put in too much effort. You'll do
I
like
yeah.
8 hours some days with a client,
I've
which
done
is
10 or
crazy.
12. I've
Yeah,
done
that's
like 10 or
crazy.
12 hours. Yeah, but I mean, like, if old POA style of like worked, I would know it worked and I would teach it. If it worked for clients, I would teach it. Like, I do whatever I do whatever is going to get the client the best results. And if old style pickup worked, I'd be teaching it. It doesn't. It's not like there are other factors that matter a lot more. Like when you first get into this, I I get it too. You don't know what to say and you want to know the right words. That's cool. That makes sense. I that in that case I might teach you some lines, but if you make the canned lines your entire fucking pitch and pickup, and you want to be this like mystery floating and hypnotizing girls, it's not going to be you no.
Well, even if it did work, there's two problems you got to be aware of. One, if you're using a whole canned routine system, uh, one, you're going to run out of it eventually. And so then, even if you sleep with a girl, once you start to get to know her, you run out of that. You run out of the character, and she sees the real you, which is like much more insecure and doesn't know what to do. And once you break the character, things fall apart,
Yeah.
right? And that's sad. And then, secondly, is it really going to be as satisfying knowing that you're doing this whole mechanical script instead of connecting on a human level? Now that might sound a little gay, right? Oh, connect on a
It's
human level.
consistency.
But what is more satisfying, right? Like getting with a girl by being the best version of yourself, being the most authentic version of yourself, but the confident and assertive version of yourself, without putting on a bunch of like a mask and saying all these made up lines and stories that aren't real. Or would it be more fun to be this like fake person? And it's not even you,
Well,
right?
here I did like hardcore can line game for like 4 years.
That's how I
So
started. It was rough.
yeah,
For me.
it's okay. So we both did that. Yeah. All right. So let me explain this a little bit for those of you guys who are still pretty fresh at this. Why like you don't want to go all in on that, and why you also want to have a rounded game. All right. So what ends up happening is when you go into can lines, what happens is it feels, instead of you having like so on one side of the like on one side is like where you're at, and the other side is getting the girl. Okay, so you are riding a wave. So when you're doing like can lines and nothing but can lines, you're riding a wave and it constantly feels like you're about to fall off. Like you're like this, and at any second you're gonna fuck this up. It's gonna fall off. Now on the other side, if you do like work on yourself, your inner game, your mindsets, beliefs, you go out and you work on your confidence, your neuroticism, all that kind of shit. Instead of it being like you're riding a wave, instead you're building a bridge. It's not you. It doesn't feel like there's a constant chance of losing her. Like she's not gonna leave. You know she's not gonna leave because you're never gonna show a different person than who you are. It's actually a Todd V line. It's like if you have the right mindsets, you'll never say the wrong thing. And if you're somebody who doesn't want to change and is fighting viscerally not to change, you want to try to band-aid it up with canned lines, you're gonna always have that problem where you have to ride the
And
wave.
even when you do say the wrong thing, you'll be able to recover from it.
Yeah.
And that is like I used to, because I was very spontaneous. That's how I got good at pickup. Every once in a while, you say something that's like cringe or just uncalibrated or offensive or whatever because
Yeah.
you're so expressive. But I found that almost never happens now. Very, very rare. Over time, it pretty much goes away. Like those moments, I'm sure everyone relates to it. Like you say something where it's like and then you're like, oh, that
But
was
do you
bad, and
remember
you get
that?
all cold, and you're like,
Do you remember back when you're younger though, how like it felt like that any second
That would
she's gonna figure it out and
yeah,
she's gonna
yeah.
be attracted, and it felt like, and you're like it's just.
Well, I didn't feel they were ever attracted. I'm like, maybe I can trick them, but
Yeah.
I didn't. So that didn't work. If anyone, I'm about to go film infield. If anyone has ideas, I'm just gonna wing it. So if anyone has ideas, I'm open to suggestions. But we're about to head off because I
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah,
get
we'll-
to this
we'll get
place
bouncing.
in
I got a
like
lot of work.
15 minutes or so. Any good questions?
Somebody mentioned a Discord group. He actually has a group on school. I'm probably gonna open up one myself, and I should have done it like a month ago because I've been
ago,
I've been
yeah.
working a lot. But I'm gonna get that knocked out. Actually, homeboy to my left is probably gonna help me out. You're right.
Yeah, so I do have personally. I do have a school group. You can, if you look up a.g.hayden, you can find it. You made one. You just haven't really, finished putting it together,
No,
right?
no,
Like
I-
it might exist.
It exists. It's just I haven't put it together yet.
Well, if you get people to join, then you'll have to fill it out. So you could
I know.
use that.
I just want to find a way to make the group valuable week in, week out, and so I want to create a system for it that I think will be a good way for me to be able to output a lot of work for whoever's in the group, while also not me having to expend like 20, 30 hours a week on it. Honestly, because I work a lot.
As it might sound. I mean, I put like a few hours a week into maintaining it, and you see a lot, like a lot of people will get really active, and I have people in the group who like hadn't gotten laid in years or never got. I've had several virgins like they write their field report of when they lost their virginity, right? Of like how they lost their
That's actually a
virginity,
good idea.
and that's super cool.
Hey, Red Stoke actually came up with a really good idea.
100 approaches a day. I
Do
mean, if
100.
it's busy enough.
Yeah, that actually is if it's busy enough, that's a great video.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's a lot. I
You wouldn't
want to
hit
get
100
multiple
though.
videos from 100. Oh, okay, hold
You would,
on.
no, you would pull before then. Is what I'm getting at.
Oh, all right. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, bro. Like, let's
No,
go.
Like, honestly, like if I set a goal for 15
Well, I can
approaches,
pull, bang, just take 2 minutes, and then
Well, I mean,
go back.
I set a goal for 15 when I'm out of it when I go out, but usually I get a girl into me before 15.
Yeah,
Like, that's a problem.
at one point, I might bring this back. At one point, I gave myself a rule that I'll either do 50 approaches or pull, whichever comes first, or the club closes.
That's good.
And, you know, I did this in a phase of my life when my discipline was really on point and I'd been approaching a lot and stuff like that. But I never got to 50, right? I always pulled before that because eventually by 50, I'd meet a girl who I like and she likes me and there's good logistics. And it's like, well, all right, let's make this happen. And, you know, thinking that way is something to consider. So, yeah, if there's any ideas, I appreciate it. If you really want to get results fast, the best way is in-person coaching. Because really think about it. A lot of this is about emotional leverage. If you've spent your whole life not approaching women, not, you know, you're not getting results from online dating apps, you spent your whole life doing that, there's so much gravity, there's momentum in that direction. It's not impossible, but it's hard to get yourself to just go out and like do a bunch of approaches, right? Because your whole life you're like, see hot girl, don't approach. See hot girl, don't approach. See hot girl, don't approach. That's your default, right? You have him or me, you meet us, you're making a financial investment, you've been watching our content, so it's someone that you like, you appreciate their advice, right? You take it seriously. And we also know how psychologically to get someone out of their comfort zone in a way that is effective and not overwhelming. So I've had many clients who'd never approached a girl in their life crush it, right? Like within an hour. The first hour, they kind of hate it. You know, the first hour, they're like, I'm shy, I can't do this. But then sometimes within an hour, they're like, I don't even have to push them to approach anymore. They're just like, I see a girl. I have to sometimes hold them back because they're like going for couples holding hands because they're like on such an adrenaline rush or like a what do you call it, a endorphins rush from like getting out of their head for the first time.
Yeah.
And so first we get you over that, which could have been holding you back for years. That's what happened to me, right? I just not being able to approach enough at all. We get you over that problem so that approach anxiety, it's not going to go away entirely forever or anything, but it's something you know you can overcome and get past and get results besides it, and it will reduce. And then we tweak whatever like things that are holding you back, right? The mistakes you're making that you're not aware of, the blind spots. And sometimes that can take a year. I'll give an example of mine. Maybe you can give an example of yours as well. When I started game, my big blind spot is I never led, escalated, or made my intentions clear. I was doing mystery method. I was doing like, who lies more, men or women? Not to make fun of mystery, but that particular opener I don't think is the best. And I was doing these routines, but I never, and girls would talk to me, but they never talked about like needing to put your balls on the line, right? Like needing to actually like move things forward. So I would just talk for an hour and they'd be like, oh, my boyfriend's here. Nice meeting ya. Right? That's what would happen again and again and again. And if I met a coach who's like, all right, you need to actually go direct to some extent. You need to actually be, going for the makeout, moving the girl around, being physical, inviting girls home, these kinds of things. They pushed me to do it. That could have cut an entire year off my learning curve. So what were some of yours that a coach could have helped with?
You mean in terms of just like improving faster?
Well, a girl will never be cold when I approach them, so I don't think I can do that. But
Well,
yeah, like what are the things that you would have gotten better at faster if you had like taken a boot camp early on?
yeah. I mean, like honestly, just like the dumb pitfalls. Also, too, I mean, you get to see somebody in person who has the energy that you're trying to shoot for. I mean, like, dude, one of the great things that I did was that I got around people that maybe don't have like the same energy, like maybe like the same personalities as me, so they have a different style of quote unquote game or charisma. But by me having a template, by me being able to see it and like actually understand, it's a lot different than trying to blindly go off the word of two guys on a live video. Instead, you get to see it in person, and then you get like I still to this day I think back to my mentors, and I remember shit that they did, and I still mull it over, and I'm still like thinking about what was it that caused that, and I know the energy because I've taken boot camps.
That was
I've seen
huge
it from
for
guys.
me.
Yeah.
Um, at first when I got into game, I watched, who would like David D'Angelo. He wasn't bad, but the guys of the time, none of them like I wasn't fully bought in that these guys fuck. I
Yeah.
wasn't really. I was like maybe it'll work, but I wasn't really convinced. And then I watched RSD Julian's videos. I was like, okay, he has that it factor,
Oh yeah.
right? This
Oh my
guy, and
God.
I believe what he's saying in terms of getting results, right?
Yeah.
And then they had another guy called Tim, who
Tim's cool.
he doesn't do it anymore, but um, he inspired me in that way and made me believe that it was possible. And the other big one is I didn't take a boot camp, but I met a guy who was really good at game. And he became my friend. I got lucky. He took me under his wing or whatever. And he started pushing me to approach. He pushed me to go out sober instead of drinking like a bitch. And I saw him crush it. And because he crushed it so consistently and so effortlessly, being around him helped me believe it was possible and helped me do things that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And I lucked into that. Obviously, if you luck into that, that's cool. But the only way to guarantee to have that, that kind of experience is with coaching, which you can find. I'm sure you'll have. How do people reach out to you for coaching?
Um, I'm a hard man to find. I'm a distant man. It does not mean I don't love you. No. You can text me up at 702-841-9909. You can either text me BCAMP, which means you want a boot camp, or just coaching in general. Just anything around that. Just like
My one online.
yeah, my
Does they
VA.
live in like Baghdad or something.
Yeah, my VA will see it and forward it to me. So like, yeah. If you guys want to reach out to me, we can figure something out. I have a lot of different options for coaching. I do coaching calls. There's different packages for that, and then also boot camps as well. Mainly do them in Las Vegas, though I do sometimes fly to different cities. I'm going to be going to New York here in a couple months for a client that wanted me in particular to be out there. Um, Not a big fan of New York currently, but it's okay. All right,
I
so
mean, it's kind of creepy.
we
like,
get results
Soho,
there.
there's all these there's people there that are there's what would you call it? They're like from some like Somalia or something, but they're
Well, yeah, I know.
like they stare at you as you walk by, and they like live on the streets, and they
Well, let me
yeah.
explain a little further on this. It's not. I'm not saying that you don't get results there because I do, and my clients do. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm getting at like there's an overarching kind of like negative energy field, like with people out there right now. They're very very tense and negative and angry, and the girls try a little bit
We're
hard.
gonna loosen them up
Yeah.
with some sexual.
But there's no
healing.
competition in New York. Actually, that's the funny thing about New York. It's the same thing with Seattle. If you go to one of those cities where they're very liberal cuck, to be fair, they're not very masculine
Seattle,
guys.
there's no competition for the sixes that you can get. So
Yeah.
if you, no, I'm half kidding, but
He's not kidding about.
There's
He's
not
not kidding
like
about Seattle.
look, Seattle, you can get pretty hot girls, but there's not that many like nines and tens. So if you like really want the super hot, that's your thing. But if you want smart, like mostly Asian or Indian, there's some like pretty hot Asian and Indian girls there that are like smart and fun. But overall, Seattle's it's all right.
Oh, and to the guys mentioning about me going to New York and running boot camp there, the guy has bought me for a one-on-one boot camp out there. He paid. We talked about.
Wow.
I like this guy a lot. He's a very cool dude. He's been doing coaching calls for a while, and I respect the fuck out of him. He's a hustler, and so I gave him a special deal. We decided to do a one-on-one because I wanted to really kind of delve deep on him, just because like he has some very hard sticking points. But yeah, I mean like we can always discuss me going to New York if you want, dude. You just text me up. Anyways, so with that, there was one thing I wanted to mention. I mean, you want to talk about 9/11? How it was an inside job? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, let's get into the things that matter.
How do you talk to girls about 9/11 and still get laid?
Let's fearmonger so that people watch the content and buy our emergency supplies or whatever that people do.
How fear makes girls
Let's
fuck
do
you.
that grip. Yeah.
How making a girl terrified can actually turn to sex.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so, dude. We're going bad now. Okay, before we ruin the algorithm, I'm good on this video though. You good?
Yeah, I think this is a great live stream. We're gonna be doing more of these. I'm gonna actually post videos. I'm going out to get in field because that's how we're gonna go viral, and that's extremely valuable content in field. So I'm gonna be focusing on that. I have a new cameraman. I've also got the Ray-Ban camera glasses to be able to do it on my own. And I just moved back to Vegas. I had to do some stuff in Arizona where there's not really opportunities. I was in Tucson. I could go like, to the campus and talk to 18-year-olds, but not really. I'm 34. So the infield wasn't, many opportunities, but I'm going to be getting a ton of infield now that I'm in Vegas. That's going to be a big focus. So yeah, and if you want to work with me in terms of coaching, I have a link to my website, and one of the pages is 3-day boot camps.
Okay, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I already gave you guys all my information. If you guys are watching this live, you probably already have it as well. Yeah, we'll talk to you guys later, and I'll be looking forward to doing more of these. And I got a couple of videos planned this week. The Owen Cook video got a lot of views, and is still getting a lot of views. So I'll probably double down.
That popped off. That was crazy.
Yeah, I'll double down on videos like that. I have a couple in the pipeline that are along the same lines. Like, fat guy does good with girls. Like, again, I like proving people wrong.
Featuring me?
Well, I mean, like, we've been doing this for too fucking long.
No, we do. I want to get the fat suit and do that.
Yeah.
I just got to figure out how to make my face look fatter without, starting to drink again and, eating shitty food. Because that would be cool. There was a guy, Simple Pickup. They made themselves look fat and did Tinder dates, and they still, like, made out with the girls or got them to agree to second dates. And then they had a girl do it with guys, and the guys are like,
made out with
you
one of the
don't
girls.
look like your pictures, and the guys left, which shows that, men are more visually oriented, basically.
Which
that's
the
women are
next
more
video.
agreeable and nice. And they ended up still like, oh, I like his vibe, and they're like, okay, I guess I'll hit that. Why not?
That's the next video I'll be reacting to. I'll post it up, and it'll be up here tomorrow, the next day. Avery, though, he never posts content, so don't even worry about his channel.
Yeah, I'm the one who posts less content. Mr. Once every 3 weeks here.
All right. Anyways, guys, all right, we're over an hour now. Peace. If I can ever figure out to turn it off.